Hi, everyone. Ted Nesi here from Target 12 WPRI, and I'm joined by my colleague Eli Sherman, who throughout this coronavirus crisis has been our data guru. He manages that fantastic data collection of charts and maps that I refer to all the time and that we're always using on broadcast and online. And the other piece of that job, Eli, is to keep up with the ongoing addition of new data to what's available from the state and then making use of that. And the latest information we have, people have heard a lot about deaths, but we've learned more today about where those deaths are happening. Talk to us about what information came out today and what the headline was to you.
Yeah, Ted, the newest addition to the data that the Department of Health is putting out is deaths by city and town. So up until this point, we've only really been able to see the cumulative total of death. There were some breakdowns of by county early on, but nothing consistent. Now the state's putting out how many people die in each community, which is giving a new picture, if you will, as to what we're seeing in terms of where the disease is affecting people the worst.
And the interesting thing is that it's different when you look through the data. It's different from where the cases have been the most when you break it down.
Yeah, I've just it's kind of fascinating, but it kind of makes sense from a practical standpoint. Cases have been really densely concentrated in urban areas, thickly settled communities. Think, parts of Providence, Central Falls. These are the places that we see really dense amounts of cases. For deaths, we're actually seeing it in more suburban areas, and more specifically in suburban areas that have nursing homes that have been so badly affected by this. As you know, Ted, nursing homes deaths among residents account for upwards of 80% of total deaths. So it makes sense that we're seeing these deaths happening in communities where the nursing homes are being affected. But this is the first time that we've seen it really clearly broken out by city and town.
Number one on the list, East Providence. Again, not a place that's been number one for cases per capita, but when you look by, of course, the largest number of deaths, I should say, in total is Providence, which makes sense because the largest number of people are in Providence. But when you look per capita, which lets you sort of have apples to apples comparisons, you see it's East Providence, and who else is high up?
Yeah, East Providence is up there. North Providence, another place that people might remember from the beginning of the pandemic, was one of the first places that was really hit hard in some of the nursing homes there. Johnston is also high up there, as is Smithfield, and both those places have a corresponding amount of deaths in nursing homes that sort of line up with the total amount of deaths that they're seeing on the ground. So again, these suburban areas, and when you're looking at that per capita rate, as you mentioned, Ted, it's not the traditional places of where you think that the disease has been most, like Providence and Central Falls, but actually in some of the surrounding communities where there are more nursing homes and thus more deaths.
And the other thing is we are getting this new data, but it's not the only new data. What else are you expecting us to learn more about as the state continues to beef up its data and what it releases?
So we're also beginning to see some numbers around hospitalizations. Is one place where the state is putting out some more of its numbers. That's also going to be broken down, or is beginning to be broken down by community. People will be able to see that. And the state is also constantly cleaning up some of its data. You might have heard about some of the revisions that are made here and there. The pandemic, of course, has not been around for very long. So in many ways, the state is learning as it's going in terms of the information that it's putting out there. So I think people should always be sort of on their toes in terms of learning new things that the state might be putting out soon.
All right, Eli Sherman, he has the latest in the story, possibly the story below this video that you're watching. And again, you can go through all our data on our Tracking COVID-19 page on WPRI.com. We'll see you back here next time we do one of these chats.